to slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. You need to slow down, slow down. You need to slow.
1980 KCIM Sports presents KCIM Sports Rewind. A look back at the week in high school sports, brought to you by St. Anthony Rehab Services. Here's Sports Director Jeff Blankman, John Ryan, and Jeff Honnold.
It is Sports Rewind once again here on KCIM, and we're live streaming once again on Facebook on our KCIM page and on the Johnston Communications page. So if you got a question about some spring sports, you want to answer from the experts, we'll find one for you. So
Yeah,
just
good
keep
luck
that in
with
mind.
that.
Yeah. We'll let you know. We'll let you know
dial
next
over
week.
there?
We'll let you know next week the answer to that.
Phone
By the
a
way,
friend.
Today is wear your pajamas to work day, and I said earlier, if Honnold's wearing his pajamas, I am out. Done.
Ooh,
Not happening today.
If I'd have known, if I had been listening.
That's exactly what I said.
I was listening, and to be honest with you, I was listening, and then I got a bunch of phone calls, so I had to turn down my computer. So I wish I would have heard that. I would have done something for you.
You're in your footy pajamas, right?
Yeah, I had to come up with something.
Probably little Hawkeye logos all over them, I'm sure.
I was thinking Christmas.
One other thing going on today, they're getting ready for it. This has been a great event that, Jeff, you started. Actually, you brought
Yes.
to town a long time ago. The Youth Triathlon happens over the Memorial Day weekend.
Yes.
Just happened to see an email this morning. That is a very cool-looking T-shirt this year for the Youth Triathlon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks to everybody down at the Rec Center for kind of coming up with that design this year and doing an amazing job. So, yeah, we took a year off from doing that because of the construction at the athletic field last year at this time. Had everything torn up, and there wouldn't have been kind of an area to be able to do any of the event except for maybe the swimming part. So we went ahead and took a year off, but we're bringing it back this year. I think it's the 5th or 6th annual now. We've had it around for a while, so it'll be nice to have it back. We've already had a couple of meetings, kind of getting things set up and getting all the paths for the bike part and all that kind of mapped out again. So this year we are going to try to go back to the aquatic center. It's where we always try to have the swimming portion of it, but depending on weather, sometimes if it's rainy or not quite warm enough, we have to let them swim indoors. But again, they'll swim, they'll run, and they'll bike. They'll bike around kind of the Graham Park and the Rec Center area, and then we'll have them running on the new track there at the Carroll Athletic Field. So should be a lot of fun. 3 different age groups. Don't ask me off the top of my head. I forget what they are.
Yeah.
And stuff, but
and the distances are different depending upon the age.
The distances are different for each one of them. Absolutely, you can register already at the Rec Center or on their website. They've got a thing where you just go to the City of Carroll and to the Rec Center's website, and you can register your kids there. A lot of fun. A lot of local businesses give little things, as kind of a gift package that we give the kids after they run. They'll get a T-shirt, they'll get a medal. And stuff. So it's just a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, once again, for all the parents out there wondering, they're in very safe confines when they do the biking, when they do the running and all of this stuff. So it's really a great event, and for kids that just want to try it. It's not a timed event. They can time themselves if they want, but it's just to try to complete the triathlon.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you said, anybody that, everybody I've got to watch that can time me, everybody's got something today. So
I'm just wondering how far it is. I'm wondering if I could complete it.
I don't think you could, because I don't think you'd be able to complete the swimming, and it's only like 25 meters. It's like one time down. So
I'm more worried about the biking. I can sink to the bottom and walk across. So I'll be okay.
We'll get you some water wings. Don't worry about that.
Oh, that'd be all right.
I think we have talked about that. I think if you can't swim well, you can use the things on your arms or whatever. There's going to be a ton of lifeguards down there. I know the Carroll swim teams are going to be volunteering to help out. That's one thing. I'm in charge of gaining the volunteers, so we still need people to volunteer for the running portion and for the biking portion. It's really, really simple, folks. Literally what we do is most of the biking is inside the parking lot there by the football stadium, baseball stadium, and the aquatic center, but we do have to go out onto the street on Graham Park, on Grant Road. We have that blocked off, so you stand at a corner and you tell the kids as they're coming to you, turn right or turn left, or turn around here, and stuff like that.
Just directing a little traffic.
Yeah, directing a little traffic. Yeah, it's a very simple thing to do. So if anybody wants to volunteer, email me at jeff@carrollbroadcasting.com, and I can get you everything that you need to do. And I think if I remember right, the volunteers get T-shirts. If I remember correctly from years
there you
past.
go.
So if anybody wants to volunteer, they can get a.
Are the entry forms available at schools now this year again?
Not yet. I just got in the email that you got, I got the flyer, so I'll send that out to all of the schools, and we'll try to see if we can get the area schools to put that maybe in their school information and stuff, and hopefully we'll be able to get a lot of people registered. Generally have about 90 to 100 kids participate each year between all of the different age groups. It's the Saturday of Memorial Day weekend. I can't remember what that date is off the top of my head, and I can't read the calendar.
Well, we'll get a date on that coming up.
Yeah, and stuff. But usually starts about 8 o'clock in the morning, and the last age group's done by 11 o'clock in the morning. So, it's
just a few hours.
Yeah, just a few hours. So, and if you can't volunteer the whole time, you can only be there for part of it. We need to volunteer, so anybody that wants to help out, more than welcome to.
Very cool event. We'd love to see even more kids participate than
Absolutely.
That. It's just very cool. Great way to start the summertime, by the way.
And it's the kickoff to the Aquatic Center. It opens that day. So what'll end up happening is if you participate in the event, you can get into the Aquatic Center that afternoon when it opens up for free. All you got to do is show them your medal or your shirt that you had participated that day, and you can get in for free and use the Aquatic Center the rest of the day.
They only let me in the Aquatic Center on a doggy dip day.
And that's only to let the dog in.
Hey, I see the calendar.
Which is odd because he has no dog.
I see the calendar above my head is the day before tax season. Does that imply something? Because it was not good for me yesterday. I was not a happy camper.
Uh-oh. Well, that's a whole other topic. No, we're not going to delve into that one. So,
yeah, no, it was bad.
And real quick here, speaking of some other news and notes, and this isn't because I'm a Nebraska fan, it's because I noticed it in the Omaha World Herald, but Blaze Gunderson from Kemper was down at the Nebraska spring game over the weekend. A lot of the Nebraska media, if you read any of the articles in the Omaha World Herald, they say some really nice things about Blaze in those articles. So if you want to just kind of, I'm sure Iowa and Iowa State probably have the same thing in the Register, but if you want to read some really nice things, I've tried to share some of the stuff I've saw on Facebook, but there's been some real nice things said about Blaze Gunderson here as of late coming out
My
of the
nephew,
Nebraska
Blake
media.
Anderson, Tommy Anderson's son, was there as well. He's being offered a walk-on position, so
Yeah.
kind of cool. I told him no. There's a lot of places he can go, and I'll support him. I don't even know if I can wear red.
Uh-oh. Somebody's making faces at us in the window there.
Yeah, Lonnie Miller didn't realize he was just on the camera.
Oh, make sure you blow that up, please.
Can we run that as like a
loop?
promo?
Let's talk about actual sports that
Yes.
went on this week. First of all, highlights for you the last week. We're finally starting to get them in on a regular basis.
Yeah, except for last week. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday all pretty much wiped off because of the weather. So
a couple days a week anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think the thing that kind of jumps out to me was the toughness of the tennis and the soccer kids late last week. I know I was on the sidelines for part of the soccer match the other night on Thursday night, and I was freezing.
I had a few text messages telling me how cold it was.
Yeah, it was not exactly a warm night to be watching and stuff, but the kids went out and did a great job, kind of battled through it. Carroll girls lost to a really, really good, highly ranked Bondurant team that night. Ended up falling 10-0. The Jaden Kirsch has had a nice year in goal for them, and then the Carroll boys ended up going down to Bondurant for our Jang has had a really nice year as well, and the goalie ended up with 15 saves that night, but the Tigers lost. But just to battle through that weather and to be able to do what they did. I know Gary McGill kind of messaged me, the Carroll boys coach, afterwards, that it took a little while on the trip home to be able to warm up. And I know Jason Schwarty, the girls Kemper girls tennis coach, also texted me that he would get me results when his hands started to work again and stuff. So it was a chilly night. The Kemper girls went over and played at Boone on last Thursday night in that cold too. Ended up losing 7-4, but a couple of players really have been outstanding for them this year. Isabel Schwabe made it down to state last year. I think she's got a real legit chance to get there this year and make some serious noise when she's down there. She picked up a 6-2, 6-1 victory. And Abby Bass, who plays in their number 4 position, has had a really nice year. I don't know if she's lost yet this year in any of her matches, so she's been off to a really good start this year. She picked up a 6-4, 7-6 victory that night. So I tip my cap to those kids. You know, I don't know if you would have asked them ahead of time if they'd wanted to go out and play in that kind of weather. I will tell you that the kids at the soccer field did not look like they were very warm. I was talking to one of the young ladies that was the ball girls that are on the sides that have to track down the balls after they get kicked out of bounds, and she had a blanket. I could hardly see her face. She had her blanket wrapped up over her, and she had played JV, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm freezing," and stuff. But they battled through it, so I tip my hat to them.
Yeah, especially on those really windy days when you're playing tennis, it can be brutal. Even soccer, the ball gets in the air any amount at all. It's just curving all over the place.
At least they're down at the stadium now instead of the knob on the hill where it's cold.
Yeah, I be honest with you, I don't know if they'd have played that one out at the middle school facility if I'd have made it out there. It was brutally cold and windy where we were at. It would have been 10 times worse out there, and I'd have probably showed up long enough to get a few pictures, and then I might have bolted because I was too cold. But yeah, so it's a really nice facility, and you bring up the wind. The one thing that's bad about soccer with the wind is, and it really hurt the Carroll girls. They had the wind in their face in the first half. Couldn't get the ball past the mid part of the field just because every time they try to kick one deep, it would get up into the wind and hold up. And Bondurant Farrar handles the ball so well that they kind of kept it on their offensive end. And I think they got up 8-0 or 9-0 in the first half. And a lot of that was due to the fact that, with the wind behind their back, they just had an extra advantage. Tennis, I don't know how you play tennis in that kind of cold with the kind of wind that we had the other night. I don't know what the facility over in Boone is like as far as blocking wind and that kind of stuff, but with as cold as Coach sounded like he was afterwards, I get the sense that the wind was not blocked very much. And I played a lot of tennis when I was a kid. We had tennis courts in my hometown, and I loved to play the game. Playing in a bunch of wind is not an easy thing to do. It's hard to control the ball. You talk about
it's worse than the cold.
Yeah,
you'd rather have the cold and no wind rather than having a hot and a windy day.
Yeah, because I tell you what, you put any kind of spin on the ball and you get it into that wind, it just exaggerates that spin and makes it even tougher to be able to play.
Or just knocks it down. You get a passing shot and it just kind of holds it up.
Yeah, so I would have had to adjust my little backhand float backspin. I used to kill people with that, so.
That's a little Bjorn Borg kind of
I could get it. I could cut it where it would just go over the net, and then it would bounce on their side and then bounce into the net so they couldn't even play it.
If he only could have perfected that, he could have been on the tennis tour.
The scary part is how many hours do you think you worked on that?
Probably, you never know.
Yeah, problem was I didn't have a real good backhand besides that, so if I couldn't get the cut and the backspin on the backhand, I didn't have a backhand.
Didn't have that wicked Jimmy Connors backhand at all.
I had an Andre Agassi forehand, and I had John McEnroe's temper.
There you go. Never a good combination.
No, I broke a few rackets in my days.
I'm sure. We're going to talk a little track and more coming up. More of the spring sports season on the way from KCIM Sports Rewind.
As the athletes at your house. In the newly renovated sports performance facility. If an injury is keeping your athlete out of the game, call St. Anthony Rehabilitation Services at 794-5000 for sports injury and treatment rehab.
.943 here at KCIM Sports Rewind. We're live streaming on Facebook right now with the help of Johnston Communications, so you can check it out there as well. Plus, we'll put that up on the Facebook page afterwards as well. This weekend, actually, we're just talking about the Drake Relays before we went on, and your daughter is going to be participating in the half marathon, and that's actually this weekend.
Yeah, oldest Keeley's going to do the half marathon, Drake half marathon. They run somewhere in the city of Des Moines, and they end at the Drake Stadium at the start-finish line. So
what a cool place to end.
Yeah.
It is. I'm hoping that I'll be able to get down onto the track, get some good pictures, but it's still a good spot there to get it. But, it's her first half marathon. She's been training quite a bit. They went out, her and the middle daughter, who's not supposed to run, their foot went out and ran, I think, what did they say, 3 miles or 6 miles?
6 miles or something.
6 miles around the golf course twice, I guess, so 6 miles. And she's been training pretty heavy. So, and then in 2 weeks, Lisa, Keeley, and Kristen are going to do a relay half marathon where you do portions of it. So I get to go to Des Moines twice to watch them run, which is, how much I enjoy that.
Yeah. Saturday's going to be perfect. I mean, sunny, lower 70s. That's going to be gorgeous.
Absolutely.
You're done by 9 a.m. They start at 7 o'clock in the morning or something silly like that. So it only takes her a couple hours to get the half marathon, so somewhere in that 9 o'clock area. So I'm starting to plan out breakfast.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're training for your run across Iowa,
I'm training
too.
for Relay Iowa.
My wife said she's seeing you run.
Yeah, yep. I went out and did a 2.6 this morning. I did 8.79 miles yesterday. So I'll get back out this afternoon and run. I don't know how much I'll run this afternoon, but I'll get out and get at least probably 2.5 to 3 more in today.
Now, for people who don't know, remind them what you're doing this. It's called Relay Iowa,
yeah,
is it?
Relay Iowa. I think this might be the 8th or the 9th year of it. I'm not for sure. This will be my 4th time doing it in the last 5 years. You can have up to 12 people in a team. You can run it however you want to, but you got to have somebody running at all times, 24 hours a day. So you run day and night. We run from the Floyd Monument there in Sioux City, is where you start on Friday morning, and you end at the river in Dubuque on Sunday morning. So you run a total of 339 miles over a kind of a 48-hour period. So we cut right through Lakeview and Ida Grove, and we come right along 175 and then through Lake City and Auburn. Usually we're in Lake City by sometime Friday evening. By Friday 9, 10 o'clock, we're in the Lakeview area by 4:30, 5 o'clock in the afternoon, a lot of times with our team. Should be a lot of fun. Brian Case is the guy that started this team several years ago. He's not running this year, but it's a lot of people from up that direction.
He gave up finally?
Yeah,
he was hinting at it. I didn't think he'd actually give.
He did.
Is he getting too old?
I don't know. I think he's kind of in the mentality that I am a little bit sometimes. I don't mind going out and running. It's going out and running 3 or 4 miles in a day is no big deal, but trying to get yourself where you're in shape to be able to run, 30 to 40 miles in a 48-hour period, you got to train a lot more and to find the time to be able to do that. And for me, I gain weight in the winter and then I got to try to run it off.
Yeah, but
spring,
he has no excuse. He's coaching track. He can sit there and run all day with him at track.
Yeah, he's in way better shape than any of the rest of us.
Oh, you should have seen him last year at the state.
And I will just say this year, last year he was complaining about the kind of conditioning that he was in. We got to Sunday morning, and he had run the same distance that all the rest of us had throughout the 2 days. We have Boston marathoners that run on our team, so the guys that can, gals that can run really, really fast. In fact, one of the guys on our team, Ryan Kramer, ended up running in the marathon this year, just yesterday, 16th straight year that he's running it. He averaged a 6:51 for the 26 miles. And stuff. Brian was running right with all of those guys, the same pace they were by Sunday morning. So, he talks about not being in shape.
That's why it's fun to dig at him about getting old. He still runs well.
He still ran more miles than almost everybody and was running those kind of paces. I start out slow, and then by Sunday morning, I'm really slow.
So is he just going to be the driver?
No, he's not even going. So there's really, to be honest with you, the way we do it is we split into 2 groups of 6. So we have 2 vehicles. There's really not room for more than 6 people in the vehicle. It's pretty tight, but you have checkpoints, so you have certain towns you have to run through, and you got to run by some people sitting at a table, and you got to holler out your name of the team that you're on so that they know, and then you carry a GPS. So whoever's running has to have a GPS on them so that they can track you to make sure you're not cheating, because if you jump in a vehicle and drive, they can tell, how quickly you got from one point to another. But one group will run from one checkpoint to the other, and the second group will drive and wait for them there. So you get a chance to maybe get a half-hour, 45-minute nap. You grab a little bit of something to eat. You kind of give your body a little bit of time to rest.
Now, is it a fundraiser? Is that what they're doing?
It is. It's a fundraiser. I'm not for sure what they're raising funds for this year. I know 2 years ago they raised money to help build homes for people in Haiti after the devastating hurricanes and stuff that they had. But every year it's a charity. Every year they find something else to donate the money to. So all of us that compete in it, we end up having we pay a fee to be able to get in, and that's part of the donations. And then you can go out and raise money as well to be able to help out the charity. So
tell you what, fun this time this weekend. No half marathon for the Drake Relays coming up this weekend. You got that coming up, Jeff, and Drake Relays the following week. And
yes.
So we'll talk about track coming up in a few more minutes. We got to squeeze some golf in as well. All that coming up before the top of the hour.
As the athletes at your house prepare for hard work. Services at 794-5000 for sports injury and treatment rehab.
KCIM Sports Rewind. You can catch an audio podcast on our website. That's 1380kcim.com anytime you want. Or catch the live stream on Facebook with the help of Johnston Communications. Track going on right now. Of course, Drake Relay is kind of one that everybody's kind of angling for, a lot of the high school athletes. Anybody we know that's qualified so far, and how's track going so far?
It's
been a lot of hit and miss with the meets.
South Central Calhoun boys have got quite a few people that have qualified for it. Spencer Moon, Chase McAllister, a bunch of their relays have qualified, so I think they'll be in pretty good shape. So,
Audubon hurdles?
Audubon boys shuttle hurdle is probably qualified.
You can just put them in every time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're really, really good.
If you've never been to Drake, it is quite an event. I mean, it is just it's a must see if you're from Iowa. They get the announcer. I mean, he's a nationwide announcer.
Mike J. Yeah.
Mike J. does a great job. We had him on the air a few years ago. But just it's a spectacle. I mean, it's a massive humanity, but you're seeing the best athletes. It's actually better than state track because you've got all the classes together competing at one time. So you're getting the fastest kids in Iowa, and then of course you get to see the Olympians and the college kids, and it is really neat to be able to get around there and see the event.
And that'll be the really nice thing too is we'll have quite a few high school kids down there, but we'll also have some college kids throughout the area that will have qualified and will be running down there as well. So I'll head down and spend some time down there over those couple of days and be able to get those kids covered and try to catch up with as many.
It's about a
of them as we
50-50
can.
bet on weather.
Yeah.
It's either really hot or it's rainy and cold, or we get both.
You seem to get at least one day that's just kind of miserable. You always get the one day that's kind of miserable.
What was it? Last year you and I got to hang out with Story on underneath in the rain.
Yeah, that might have been 2 years ago.
Well, it just cut loose and all they did wait it out.
Yep.
But they cleared the stadium. There's nowhere in the stadium unless you go down in the press area where it's safe. They actually evacuate the entire stadium.
Yeah.
How about let's get back to track here.
Yes.
Anybody standing out so far this year?
We talked last week about those South Central Calhoun kids and the Audubon kids. There's some kids from Kemper that are doing really well right now. Kyle Berg, Michael Pottebaum's been an outstanding distance runner for them. I would say for the Audubon girls, you look at some of their young kids. Hannah Tygeson has had a really good year in the distance races. Grace Slater has had a really nice year for them in the distance races. Melissa Deist throwing the shot puts had a nice year. Raina Doty down at Coon Rapids Bayard is really throwing both the shot and the disc well. ICAM Mannings, Lexi Brandon, Grant Strachey, two kids that are throwing the shot and the disc really, really well. Mentioned Kyle Berg with the long jump for Kemper has done well. Carroll High boys are pretty young, but the girls, I think Ella Collison has had a really nice year so far. Ashley Onken kind of dominating things a little bit with the shot and the discus. She won both of them last night up in Gallery. Chase Gladden, he was a little slow to start the year and stuff, but he's really come on here over the last week or two. He was injured with that wrist, so just kind of getting back into form for him. Those are just some of the kids out there.
Times at the Carroll Stadium seem fast.
Yeah, I would say that they're pretty good. Like I said last week, every kid that I've talked to says that track is really soft and a lot of fun to run on. So not really very surprised at that. It's just, most new surfaces like that are a lot of fun for the kids to participate on.
Plus the activity going on down there with soccer and track happening under that facility is so well used.
Yes, it is. It is. If there's not a track meet, there's a lot of times a soccer match going on. There was a doubleheader last night between ESAC and Carroll. Tonight, ESAC will be back in town. There's going to be a doubleheader of soccer down there with Kemper and ESAC County. And then Thursday, you got the Tiger Night Relays. With that new facility, Carroll gets to host the Raccoon River Conference meet this year, and they get a hold of district. A 3A district will be there this year. So had not hosted one in the 15 years that I'd been here, and the first year that they get the new track facility, they get to host a district.
I can't remember. I remember one other Raccoon River hosting, but there was a problem.
They hosted a conference tournament, but they haven't hosted a district.
No,
since
there was
I've
a
been
problem
here,
with something. I can't remember what it was that the state had a problem with, but there was something with the old facility that didn't work out. But What a great use of facility for all the different programs.
Yeah. Some other kids here real quick as I kind of glance through some of my notes. Alexia Nelson from Glidden Ralston is doing a terrific job in their distance races, and Tiana Jansen as well from Glidden Ralston. She's a really good hurdler, and she's going to be going to BV to run hurdles next fall and next spring. So a few other kids that have been doing really well in track so far this year.
All right, let's talk a little golf. Again, it's kind of like track. It's all weather dependent. There's been some brutally cold days, a lot of windy days. So how's that coming?
It's going well. I like what I've seen from the Kemper boys so far this year. They just kind of plug and play kids. It's weird. You know, they graduated a lot of guys off of last year's state tournament team. They just plugged the new guys in, and they're just kind of going out and beating people again. Went out last night, or actually a couple of days ago, and picked up a nice win. The Kemper girls last night had a nice win over Harlan. Mariah Neighborhouse and Katie Schweers and Eve Kinkle have all been shooting really well for them. Michaela Downing has kind of been pacing Coon Rapids Bayard so far this year as she has shot really well. Whitney Reaver seems to be the leader of that Glidden Ralston team. South Central Calhoun has been playing well. They've kind of gotten rained out here as of late. Kayla Kraft is off to a great start up at East Sac County. It'd be interesting to talk to Justin to see if she's beaten him yet, and stuff. But I think those two golf a lot. And I think if you talk to Kayla, she'd probably tell you that, her coaches do an amazing job. But to have a brother like Justin that is as good as he is probably has taught her a little bit of something over the years as well. But the sad thing for her a lot of times is she's one of maybe one or two kids that's on the team. So they don't have a lot of kids on the team this year to compete as a team a lot of times. But she's generally either the medalist or the runner-up medalist at all of the meets that they go to.
As I say, she was the one that came in with a lot of pressure on her this year to really perform well, and she's held up.
She has, absolutely. Trenton Golay, Cage Schlepper shooting really well right now for Coon Rapids Bayard. Zach Lee had a little bit of an issue last night for the Crusaders. They were down at the Atlantic Country Club, broke his driver on the very first tee box yesterday, so I had to play the rest of the...
Which I could say I don't know how that feels.
Yeah.
But.
Had to play the rest of the round.
His was inadvertent.
Yes.
Oh!
Yeah. I should say he had his driver break on him, not that he broke his driver. But, so that was kind of tough for him, but he has
give
been
lessons on
really
breaking
well.
clubs.
Yeah, Kyler Rasmussen down at IKEA Manning has been shooting extremely well so far this year. I think they've got a chance to have a really nice season this year on the boys' side of things. I like what I've seen out of that team. Jared Hinkleman, another kid that's been playing pretty well for them down there.
How about Carolyn Kemper? What have they been up to?
Carroll boys, they were up at the Spencer tournament yesterday. It finished fourth out of 12 schools, so really a pretty good day for them. Shot a 338. Drew Munson led them with an 80. Tyler Tuning, who has been one of their top golfers, shot an 81. It was kind of funny. Jace Pettit didn't get a golf in the first meet of the year, and everybody was like, a Carroll team without a Pettit? It might have been the first time in the 15 years that I'd been here that we didn't have a Pettit on the golf team, but Jace was back, and he shot an 87. And then you had Ty Nissen with a 90. Drew Shirkey and Henry Sigabard each shot 91s. But those two, especially Drew, he's usually the number one on this year's team, usually a little bit better than that. But I think they've got a chance to be really pretty good this year.
They had a problem weekend. They may not have recovered
yet.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest with you, I was at the track meet yesterday, and there was quite a few kids that were talking about that a lot of they say it a lot of times Monday is the harder day than Sunday. You sleep all day Sunday, but Monday's the day that your body kind of, notices the fact that you were up all night on Saturday and pulled a 24-hour or whatever it is that the kids pull. So a lot of kids kind of talking about Monday being a tough day to be able to get through because of problems over the weekend.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Any of the teams out there you want to talk about?
Those are the ones I think I mainly did. I did mention Trenton Golay and those guys. Austin Rodriguez shooting well for Glidden Ralston. But those are right now, those are kind of the schools that have been out. Audubon, I guess, Jasmine Turner has been shooting well for them. Did forget about them. And their boys' team's got some nice depth this year, so their boys' team's got a chance to be pretty good.
This is an important time of year. Of course, we're hitting Easter coming up this week, and then we said Drake relays after that, and it's just rockets to the very end.
Yeah, it does. It's hard to believe that after this weekend we're less than a month away from state track.
Well, you got baseball season starting right around the corner. Baseball and softball right there in May.
Baseball and softball start. Yeah, they start the Monday after the state track meet. You have your first baseball and softball games. That reminds me, I need to start getting schedules so I can start putting our broadcast stuff together. Thanks for reminding me. It never ends.
Yeah, it really doesn't at this point. So, all right, that is KCIM Sports Rewind for today. Once again, catch a podcast available at 1380kcim.com, or you can watch the video stream on our Facebook page, plus on the Johnston Communications page. And our thanks once again to Jason and Chelsea from Johnston Communications for coming in to live stream Sports Rewind here on KCIM.
When you need to know.